Hey, it's Jess, and welcome to Becoming Heartstrong. I'm a social entrepreneur, speaker, mother, and business owner, and I'm here because I believe in you and I want you to live your full potential. My mission with this podcast is simple: to offer you perspectives, tools, and inspiration to help you live with more courage, rebuild after setbacks, and strengthen yourself from the inside out. So each week, I talk to thought leaders, authors, experts, and everyday amazing people who share their stories and outlooks that help you get from where you are today to where you want to be tomorrow. Let's get started. Do you ever feel like you have something great inside of you, but you just aren't sure how to bring it to life? Do you ever need some clarity on how to get from where you are to where you want to be? I'm so excited to share a free guide I created just for you. This tool has helped me in my own times of struggle and doubt. It's called Your Future Self Guide. This mini course includes a future self visualization I recorded, a series of journal questions, and some insights from me about overcoming self-doubt and embracing self-leadership. You can download it for free at jessicalindberg.com/future-self. That's jessicalindberg.com/future-self. Let's get back to the show. Hey, it's Jess, and welcome to Becoming Heartstrong. It's been a minute since I've put a podcast out into the world, but I'm really excited to be back here with the show Becoming Heartstrong. You might have noticed that I changed the name just ever so slightly from the Heartstrong podcast to Becoming Heartstrong. And I want to take just a quick second to tell you why. As I've thought about what I want this podcast to be and how I want to show up in the world, I really want it to be a space where we are investigating the process of becoming a better version of ourselves, of this human journey, of how to get from where we are today to where we want to be tomorrow, of the things that are difficult and challenging and that are also exhilarating and interesting. I want to tackle ideas around us as humans and us in our culture. And I think that it's always a process. We're all in a process. We're all becoming something. And we don't always know exactly what that is, but we're always in process. I'm super curious about that process. So I made a little change, and I hope that you like it. And I'm really excited about moving forward with the podcast. And so today is the first episode in a bit, as I said, and I am going to do a commencement address for the graduating class of 2024. I'm thinking mostly about high school graduates, to be honest. My oldest son would be graduating from high school this year. He died when he was 7, and I would be lying if I didn't tell you that the last, month or so, I have been thinking a lot about him and about what it would be like to be launching my first and oldest child into the world and into the next step of his life, whatever that would have looked like. And so since he's not here for me to share these thoughts with him, I thought I would share them with you. And so if you have a graduate in your life, I'd love for you to share them with them. These are 10 pillars of perspective from me to you for the graduating class of 2024. The first one is your life has purpose. The odds of you being here are incredibly rare, 1 in 4 trillion. I looked it up a few times to make sure that was right. You're incredibly rare and incredibly special. And I don't know what your life has looked like up until this point. I don't know how optimistic you feel about your future, but I'm optimistic about you because you are here. And I believe that you have something very important to do in this world, or else you would not be here. Now, I'm not talking about important influencer important or social media important or an important thing that everybody sees. I'm talking about the unique thing that you are here to do. And I hope that you will cultivate that because people are depending on you. The world desperately needs your ideas and your art and your abilities and your talents and your vision and your perspective and your experiences. I know it's really easy to doubt yourself, to question why and what and how. Gosh, that's something that we all do as humans. But I hope you look in the mirror each day and look at yourself and say, my life has purpose. Because it does. And I want you to remember that as you take this next step. And so in case no one else has told you lately, I want you to know that I believe in you. Which leads me to number 2. You might ask, well, how do I know my purpose? So how do we know what our purpose is? Now, this is a really big question. It's something that I hear people say all the time. Well, what is my purpose? How do I know my purpose? I think that it's something that evolves over the course of your life. It's something that you need to be patient about, but it really takes observation. It takes observing what is going on in the world around you. And so I have a few ways that I think gets you to that place. And this is just something to think about as you're moving forward. The first thing I want you to think about is, what are your natural talents? What is something that you just love, that you're just easily good at, that comes easily to you? And maybe put that in one circle. And then the second circle is, what do you see around you that you feel like needs to change? What's a gap that you see? Maybe even something that makes you angry or upset, something that you're like, I just think that maybe this needs to be a little bit different. Put that in another circle. And then the final thing is, what has been challenging to you? What has been really hard in your life? What is something that you have really struggled with? Maybe you don't have that yet. Maybe you do. But I think the intersection of our natural gifts, natural talents, things that we love that come easily to us, that we're just naturally curious about, the gaps that we see in the world, the places that we think need to do something a little bit different. And finally, something that has been challenging for us, big or small, large disaster, some heartache, down to something little. I think that the intersection of those is where you find your purpose. And that's going to change over the course of your life. The way that you live that out is going to change over the course of your life. And so it's okay. Don't be too worried about it. Be an observer of your life. Life will happen. Seasons will come. I've been a mother, an entrepreneur. I've been a business owner. My husband and I have done some really fun business ventures together, some really challenging ones. I have held so many different roles in my life, and each one of those experiences has made me who I am. And so how I live out my purpose and what my purpose is in this world is something that shifts and changes. So be a growing human, observe your life, think about the three things that I said, the things that come easily to you, the gaps you see in the world, and things that have been your challenge. And I promise you that you'll find it because you're looking for it. Which brings me to point number 3, which is cultivate your center. Now you may say, okay, what the heck does that mean? What is cultivating your center? There's 2 things here that I think are really important. The first one is, you need to get to know yourself. Get to know who you are. Why are you the way that you are? Why do you act or think the way that you do? We all have these natural ways about us. Get to know yours and figure out why. Now, there are many ways for you to do this. There's amazing tools like personality assessments. When I think I was in high school, I took the Myers-Briggs test, and that was really interesting for me because it gave me clues and understanding a little bit more about myself. Since then, I've done many of them. There's the Enneagram, there's YouTube, there's no shortage of content about getting to know ourselves. But it's an important thing to do, and to cultivate your center, to cultivate the inner part of you, to understand yourself. There's something important I want to say to you here, and that's this. There are many external mentors to have in our life, and they are so important. People older than us, more experienced than us, people who have more wisdom than we do. Those are important people to seek out in our life. But it's also important to cultivate yourself so that you know yourself, so that you can listen to that still small voice inside of you, that part of you that knows the answer. I think it's such an important thing for all of us to learn, and we should always measure that against what the world outside is telling us. The second part of cultivating your center is to consider faith. Consider a belief bigger than yourself. Now, maybe that's a dicey topic these days, or maybe it's something that you already have in your life. I don't know. But for me, I've buried a child. I have a sick and disabled son that I care for every day. I've seen much sadness and many hard things in the work that I've done and in the people that I love. And there have been seasons in my life when I've wanted nothing to do with God or with belief, because I felt that maybe perhaps God created the problems that I've had. But I don't believe that. What I believe is that I'm here to write a bigger story, that there is something going on with my life that is bigger than I can see, that God has purpose for me. And knowing that and believing that gives me hope. I'm not just floating around here on some globe in the middle of space. I'm here for a reason. And the heartaches and the challenges that I have are part of that, just as the joys are and the wonderful times. It goes back to that 1 in 4 trillion. You're here for a purpose. I'm here for a purpose. Faith is a lifelong journey. And if you're curious about it, I hope you will be curious about it. I hope you'll ask questions. I hope you'll seek out people in your life. if you are a person of faith and that's something that's important to you, continue to practice that. I promise you, it is something that will guide you, that will give you grounding in your life. The world, life gets a little crazy, as we know. And for me, the quiet, still, constant has been my faith. So cultivate faith. Number 4 is everyone you meet is struggling with something. Be aware of the world around you. Be aware of people around you. Remember that hurt people, that the way people act in the world and the way that they act towards you has a lot more to do with them often than it does you. Now, I'm not letting you off the hook because we all do things that hurt people, like I said, or create a reaction, but largely the way people act towards you has a lot more to do about them. And it might be because they're going through something really hard. You know, a lot of times people, even people my age, they're not good at sharing the thing that's going on in their life, or maybe it's so deep seated, something so something within the recesses of their life experience, and they just haven't been able to get to it yet. But just remember, people see life through their lens, through their experience, through their families, through their beliefs. And so give each other a little bit of grace. Remember that everyone you meet is struggling with something. And one more thing on this topic that I want you to know is that at the same time, everybody struggles with self-confidence. Everyone struggles with imposter syndrome and the question of, am I enough? And they worry and they lack confidence. And you might think that they don't, but I promise you that they do. And so don't compare yourself. Don't worry about what other people are doing. Just be yourself. Be confident in the person that you are and that you are created to be. And when that little voice gets into your head and says, no, you can't, you say, yes, I can. When they say you're not good enough, you say, my life has purpose. When that little voice tells you to stop, you say, no, I'm going to keep going. Just remember, everyone's struggling with something, just like you. Number 5, this might be one of the most important things I tell you today. There's several of them, but this one is super important. It's be curious and be a critical thinker. You're living in an age of extreme polarization. You don't know what it's like not to have social media. And social media is often your source of news. And the news is not the news anymore. And your attention is bought every single day by people who want it, who want to own it. And we all come from families with different beliefs and different politics. And the world around us has so many inherent biases, and so do we. That's 100% normal, and that's just honest part of being a human. But when you see something that you think you agree with, or you see something that you desperately disagree with them, let your first response be curiosity. Ask questions. When our culture wants you to believe something about a person or a speech or an event or an idea, instead of jumping on the bandwagon, get curious. Go watch that speech. Go read about that person. Go research that event. Find the context. Read from different points of view. Ask questions. Ask people, why do you think that? Why do you think the way that you do? Ask yourself, why is this platform presenting this person in their way? What are the motivations? Who is paying the bills? Do you see where I'm going? Be a critical thinker. Be curious about the world around you. If you're struggling to know what you think, a good practice is to write it out. When we write, it helps us understand what we think. And so if you're thinking that you're wanting to know what you think about something, write it out and see what happens. I have a quote. It's my favorite quote. It's in my kitchen. It says, if everyone's thinking alike, then no one's thinking. It's by George Patton. And I love that because whenever I get around people and everyone's thinking the same thing and saying the same thing, I know that's my cue to start asking questions. So be curious, be a critical thinker. It's also okay to change your mind. It's okay to learn more, know more, do better once you know more. I've changed my mind on issues around me. I've changed my mind on things as I've experienced more life and experienced more wisdom. And I'm still asking questions and I'm still curious about things as a 48-year-old woman. So be a curious person and be a critical thinker. Don't take the things your culture gives you hook, line, and sinker. Ask some questions first. Number 6 is the world is in desperate need of courageous leaders. This is one that I could go on and on about, and you'll likely witness it in the world around you. It's much easier to go along with a crowd than it is to be courageous. But the world needs, like I just said, the world needs critical thinkers. The world needs curious people, but the world needs those people to then be courageous. And again, I've said this before, it's not just about a visible person. It's not just a person on TV or a person on social media. It's being a courageous parent, a courageous neighbor, a courageous spouse, a courageous teacher, a courageous business leader, a scientist. It's whatever you are. Be a courageous one. I'm reading a book. It's called The Obstacle is the Way by Ryan Holiday, which I highly recommend to you, especially you graduates. It's excellent. But it talked about courage, and it said, we love courage today, but courage is really just action. It's little steps every day. How do we get to where we want to go? How do we make the big things happen? How do the audacious dreams come to life? One step at a time. It's getting up each day. It's being consistent day after day after day. We live in a world that loves the gold medal stand. They love to talk about the victor. But the reality is that victor toiled for days and consistently showed up every single day. So be consistent. Make the hard choices. Take action. Be a person of character. That's what will make you a courageous leader, and the world needs more of those. Number 7 is the person you choose to spend your life with is one of the most important decisions that you will ever make. I can't stress this enough. Don't settle. Don't say he'll change, she'll change. Don't be with someone who you have to lead along and who can't lead themselves. Do they have a vision for their future? What do they believe about God and about life and about the world around them? You'll come to a time in your life when everyone around you is getting married or finding their person, and you might feel like you're left out because you don't have your person yet. But don't settle. Spend that time becoming the best version of yourself. Spend that time becoming the person that you want to be around. And I promise you that you will find them. Stand on your own 2 feet. Here's the deal, everyone. Spend time becoming the best version of yourself, and that's how you're going to attract the person that you want to be with. Here's the truth. A good relationship is about each person helping the other become the best version of themselves, and that's how you have a strong, loving relationship. And those people can weather hard times. They can weather uncertainty. They can weather the inevitable challenges that I'm telling you can't even imagine right now. So really consider, really think through the person that you're going to spend your life with. It's one of the most important decisions you'll ever make. One more thing on this topic is I was reading recently that less people are having kids today. I didn't research all the statistics why, but I wanted to say to you that having a family has been one of the most rewarding, challenging things that I have ever done in my life. Having a family is a way to change the world because it's the children that you're bringing into the world. It's the children that you're building. It's a ton of work. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, the world is a broken place, but having a family is a gift. It's been the most wonderful thing that I have done in my life. Nothing has stretched me or grown me more than being a mom, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Number 8, take care of your physical body. It's truly a temple. Lift heavy weights, challenge yourself, do hard things, eat healthy. Find a physical practice that challenges you and that you love to do. It will give you a sharp mind, body, and spirit. I know college is really fun, but don't drink too much. Here's your mom talking. Don't put crap in your body. I'm going to tell you right now. Don't do drugs. You're too precious. You have too much to do. You're too important to this world. You need your mind and your body and your spirit, and they're all interconnected. And when we screw around with our body, we screw around with our mind and spirit, and vice versa. So take care of your body. Spend time with people who respect their body and who respect your body. And I'm going to go back to number 1, which is you're precious and unique. You're 1 in 4 trillion. Take care of your body. You only get one. Number 9 is your disappointments and challenges are your doorways. I'm going to say it again. Your disappointments and the challenges that you face are the doorways. Don't shy away from them. When I was young and living in Chicago with friends, I was planning a career. I started grad school. I had a whole thing mapped out with what I was going to do. My husband and I got married. We had a great condo. We were ready for a life that we thought we were creating. And along came my son, Ethan. And he was the greatest gift and earthquake of our life. And being his mom has changed me more than anything. And I am so thankful for it. I love who I am because of the hard parts of my life. I wouldn't change one thing. I wouldn't go back to being the person that I was before. I am so much more aware and compassionate and passionate. And I see the world in such a different way. And I am so thankful. The disappointments, the challenges that you face are going to be the doorways. So when the person breaks up with you, when you don't get the job, when you lose the money, when something happens, I want you to think, even if it's a whisper, what is the opportunity here? Most people fold when obstacles come, but I know you won't. So when a hard time comes, remember that there are often opportunities. I'm not asking you to like this idea, but I'm just asking you to remember that your disappointments and your challenges are your doorways. And finally, number 10 is this: call your parents. Just a few years ago, you were born and your parents learned that they could love someone more than themselves. It is the most powerful thing to experience. They worked jobs to support you and they built their lives and their careers around you. They sacrificed and struggled in ways that honestly you have no idea about yet. Let me say that one more time. They worked jobs to support you and they sacrificed in ways that you have no ideas about yet. So you're ready to go. You're ready to leave, and that is totally normal and age appropriate. And you should be ready for that. But your parents are going to struggle with you leaving. They're going to miss you. So remember, give them a call. Reflect on what they've done for you. Tell them thank you. Be grateful. Someday when you're a parent, which I hope you will be, you'll understand what I'm saying. But trust me, until then, it's true. Call your parents. And one quick note here. If you don't have a family to call or people to help you, I ask you to seek a mentor. Your job is to go into the world and find someone that you admire. Maybe it's a parent of one of your friends. Maybe it's a teacher. Maybe it's someone that you'll meet. Maybe it's somebody that you find online that you just really admire. Find that person. That's your job. But I also want you to know, if you haven't heard it lately, that I believe in you and that you are loved, and don't ever forget that. So, graduating class of 2024, I wish you every good thing that life can offer you. I wish you strength for the hard times and courage for the scary ones, and deep belief in the truth that you are loved and known. And the world needs you to be who you are created to be. I can't wait to see what you do with your one beautiful life. Happy graduation. Thank you for listening to Becoming Heartstrong. I hope you found today's episode inspiring and applicable to your life. If you enjoyed the conversation, please subscribe to the podcast, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Before I go, this is just a quick reminder that I believe in you, and I believe that you too have the ability to become heartstrong. I'll chat with you soon.